Welcome to Barista Confessions, a podcast where you learn what your favorite barista thinks about you, the customer. My name is David, host of the show, and in each episode we bring real stories shared by real baristas who are tired of putting up with your bullshit. So please, grab a seat, pour yourself some coffee, because today's story is going to be a crazy one. So, I got a juicy episode today. So I got a few stories to share with you guys, and obviously these all have happened over the last several years of me being a barista. But there's a couple pet peeves that always really irritated me about customers, especially when they want to fight you on stuff. There's customers that usually come in and they order, let's say, a medium-sized beverage like a coffee, and they want it in a larger cup. But then when you put it in the larger size cup and you leave a good amount of space, because that's what roughly you're going to get, you're going to get a good few inches of space because it's not full, because it's a medium, let's say in a large cup, and these customers get upset because you don't fill the cup, and you tell them, well, if you want a full cup, then you're going to have to pay the price for the large. But then they flat out tell you, no, I'm getting a medium size in a large cup. But it's dude, you're paying for a medium in a large cup. Do you not understand the words that are coming out of your mouth is what I'm trying to figure out. Because you're saying you want a medium in a large cup, so you only pay, let's say, $2 for a medium. And you get the extra space so you could add creamer or whatever the shit you want to add to it. But you're insisting on us filling up the entire cup for you and only still charging you the price of a medium. And here you are trying to argue or fight with me when you clearly know that you should be getting charged more, but you're not, acknowledging that fact and being honest. And so you're making not only our jobs harder because we're trying to do the right thing, but you're also holding up my line, arguing with me. And it just really boggles my mind as to why customers do stuff like that, because I don't know, folks. It's just really you're that fucking cheap. If you're really trying to save money by swindling us, go elsewhere, because that's not gonna work. And better yet, you shouldn't even be fucking coming in to spend $2 on a cup of coffee when you could buy a pound of coffee for $10 and brew it at home, and each cup will cost you a fraction of what you're paying for a medium size daily at a coffee shop. It pisses me off a lot. And the other thing that really pisses me off about customers. So when I worked at my last job, Coffee Bean, a lot of customers would come in and they would order something called a dry Americano. So for those of you who know what an Americano is, I'll address your concerns in just a second. But for those of you who don't know what an Americano is shots of espresso over either cold water or hot water. It's supposed to be a lot smoother than a regular cup of coffee. And it was actually created in World War II by World War I, by the soldiers in the trenches, because they would just add hot water to, I believe it was used coffee or espresso grounds, and that's how they made the Americano. It's to keep them awake, I guess. But a dry Americano. So what we did at my location to please the customer, and I say that in quotations, is when they would order a dry Americano, we would only charge them the price of the Americano. Because if you charge them for, let's say, a quad shot of espresso, because essentially that's what it is for a large, or a medium, which is a triple shot, they're gonna end up paying more. So this is kind of like a little friendly discount, because our store got a lot of regulars and a lot of them were cool, so we didn't care. But then we get the assholes that show up and ruin the fun for everybody. I had a guy come in and he ordered a dry Americano, and he says that he didn't want any liquid in it, like water. And the way we make the Americano, because since the shots come out really, really freaking hot from the machine, we dump it over ice to cool them in the cup of ice that we're going to be giving the customer. And they, and then they could go add their milk and whatever to the beverage. But this guy got really pissed off. He's like, oh, well, like, there's water in it. It's like, yeah, there's water in it because, A, we use hot water that we pump in the machine through the through the grounds of espresso to make the fucking espresso. And B, what else do you think is going to happen when you fucking put a hot liquid in a cup of ice? It's going to melt. It really is going to melt, and it's like this guy even said like, oh, well, we make the drink and put the shots in first and then add the ice. It's like, we could do that, but since these shots are extremely hot, they're going to melt a hole in the plastic cup, and it's happened before. The plastic cups aren't really built to withstand the heat from hot drinks. That's why they're flimsy and thin, because they're for cold drinks only. And this asshole just kept going on about how he didn't want any liquid in his fucking quad shot. And so what I did is I put the shots of espresso in a hot cup, and then I gave him a cup of ice on the side. And I told him, like, okay, well, here you go. Since you're being such a prick about shit, figure it out yourself. And it's like, the more and more I look back at my career as a barista, the more and more I realize it's like, does the scum of the earth come specifically to a cafe to harass the shit out of the people that work there, that are, like either paying for school, or they're, they need money for the rent or help their families, who are trying to be, who are doing good things, and or are probably in a good mood. And people like this jerk off show up and just fuck shit up for everybody, and it just ruins the fun. And the logic behind these customers, it astonishes me. Like, how could someone be so stupid and ignorant and yet be dead serious about what they're ordering? And it's like, this actually reminds me of another story. When I used to work for Starbucks about 6 years ago, I had a lady that would come in. My first day on the job after I transferred locations, because I moved to a different store because I was moving. She comes in, she orders a latte with mocha in it. And so I charged her for a mocha because the beverage already includes the price of the syrup, and sometimes if we charge it a different way than what is listed, it could end up being a little more expensive and you end up paying more, which is what we don't want to do. But this lady got pissed off because we charged her for the fucking essentially mocha latte she ordered. And this was my first day. And so she would come back frequently because she was a regular, and she would just give me the dirtiest like stink eye because I fucked up her order. And then over the course of the next few weeks when I was still there, I overheard her talking to one of the regular baristas that was there, and she's like, oh, you guys shouldn't be charging me for the mocha because it's like I only get a dime size worth of chocolate, and so that's less than a pump. I'm just like, no, you're still getting a pump, and who the fuck orders a dime size worth of fucking chocolate? Like, if you don't want to pay for the chocolate, there's chocolate powder on the fucking condiment bar that you can mix into your drink that's free. Yes, you have to physically take the lid off of the cup and physically shake the shaker to put the powder inside and stir it with the stir stick to mix it. Yes, there is some work for it. But when you ask a barista to put syrup or something in there that's going to cost extra money and you don't want to pay, you're stealing hours from us. The reason we charge for everything at these locations is because it has to pay for the labor somehow. For instance, ice blended beverage, whether it be at Starbucks, Coffee Bean, Pete's Coffee, Jack in the Box, wherever the fuck you go for ice blended coffee, you pay about $4 to $5 for a medium size. And the reason it's so expensive is because it takes longer to make. And so the longer the beverage takes to make, the more labor the store is going to need to pay the barista to make these beverages, especially in large quantities when it's busy. So by you not wanting to pay extra or the full price for any of the beverages, whether it be a latte, a mocha latte, shots of espresso, a cup of coffee that you get in a medium-sized cup, but you really want a large, but you only want to pay $2 because you're a cheap motherfucker, then you're stealing hours from us, and you're stealing essentially our money, because now with the way the economy is, a lot of these companies don't want to shell out more than 25 hours because of the whole Obamacare thing about health insurance. And they want to keep that solely for the full-timers. So we're fucked either way as part-timers, really. And that's why a lot of baristas are even working 2 jobs. So let's recap. If you are trying to be frugal with your money, don't go to a cafe and try to gyp the barista for more coffee because you only want to pay $2 for a large size cup of coffee, when in reality you're only going to get a medium size. And don't fight the barista on it either, because they're doing their job. Learn how the fuck science works, because seriously, you don't want liquid in your espresso beverage, aka water, H2O. I mean, I have some sad news for you. There's a lot of stuff out there that is made with water, coffee being one of them, espresso being another, that you're going to get water in it whether you want to or not. If you don't want any liquid from the melted ice, then get it hot and just drink it hot. Big deal. And lastly, don't try to gyp the barista for a few cents because you're being such a tight ass, especially when you know that there's free stuff at the Continental Bar that you can dress your beverage with. Sure, it's going to take some hard work and labor for you to do it, but if you want the barista to do it, then pay the price to make the barista do it, because essentially you're stealing money from the barista. Well, that's all the time I have for today, folks. Thank you guys so much for listening. It really means a lot to us that you take the time to listen in. Go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a review. It'll really help us out in the long run. And remember, baristas, stay frothy. See you guys later.